Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here now, Scala, with another exciting episode of PopXP. And tonight we have the teen sensation, the man that will never age, Mr. Billy TUCCI'S.
Yo! Well, and of course we have here the illustrious, the one, the only, the very so animated and mobile for over a year now, Mr. JC Vaughn. How are you, old bean?
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know.
Well, remember you were Frozen ball guy for a while. Remember you were Frozen.
Oh, I thought you meant like you got one of those scooters.
No,
yeah,
no,
I get you. The whole scooter story is
scooter
just a different thing. Yeah.
Well, that's just silliness.
We should all get scooters. How great would that be?
So I got a confession. I should be working on some deadlines that I have to get done tonight, but we have so many great guests on tonight that I'm gonna stick it out for a little bit. Even though JC, we were talking earlier today about another project, and
I was brought on under false pretenses.
Yes, I tricked him just to have him on the show because I like him that much.
That much.
But anyways,
all right. And Nile, how you feeling? You feeling better, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. I had a little bug over the weekend that cleared up, so we're doing pretty good there. And now we're just getting things back in motion.
All right.
And in motion with a lot of good guests tonight.
Great guests tonight.
Great guests. So, well, may I make the introduction?
Please do.
All right. Well, we have a wonderful creator on next. So for our first guest, forgive me for the phone ringing, but it happens. I was on her show the other day, and she was helping me push Miss Fury. So thank you very much, Kat. But without further ado or ado, if we can, and I'm going to try to say her name right, which I believe I am because I'm Italian too, is Miss Kathryn Calamia. Kat.
Hey, and you said it perfectly. Hi. Yeah.
Wait a second. What episode number is this?
This is like episode 148.
And Billy got a name right.
I guess.
Yeah.
Congratulations after 148 episodes. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming on.
We apologize for it taking so long. Now I'm going to pull up something. Watch this. Oh, see, that was me, Scala. So Nile, the reason why Nile is here is because he was terrified that I was going to ruin this show because I was going to run it and be in the big chair, and he came to save it. And Kat, you will thank him for that. But Kat, if you don't mind with at Comic Uno with your hashtag with your @ sign, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into comics, and how we got all the way to this point to like father, like daughter, which you've already passed your goal. But of course, as everyone knows, the goal that we want is the minimum goal that we can actually make these books, and every little bit helps. And so if you could share it, if you could pledge, please, that would be great, because the more money that comes in, the easier road it is for these creators, and it just helps to move on to the next. We can carry that over to the next, pay forward to the next campaign. So
yeah, for sure.
So Kat, please tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so Comic Uno is what most people know me as. I started a YouTube channel about 10 years ago, which is kind of crazy. Wow. I was in high school. Yeah. Wow. I'm 25 now. I know it's still a youngin', but yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. Been doing comic criticism for a long time, and I currently work for Newsarama and DC Universe, so DC Comics streaming site. I do stuff over there, and I've also worked for IGN and Fandom and TV Guide in the past as well. So very much in the vein of comic journalism and TV journalism. I actually just about a year ago graduated with my master's in TV writing, so got that under the belt. And I've loved comics all my life. My dad got me into comics when I was little. I read Silver Age Superman for a very long time. And then, as a kid, especially like a 90s, early 2000s kid, you got into like the movies and the TV shows. So like Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, X-Men Evolution, Static Shock. Those things really got me into comics. And, then I started going to the comic book store at a very young age, got a pull list. And since I would say probably my freshman year of high school, I've picked up comics every Wednesday. And getting into writing my own comics, I always knew I wanted to be a writer. And in college, I took a screenplay writing class and actually wrote a screenplay on this very comic. And I really wanted to make it into a comic. So I did just that. And now we're here with issue number 6. I have another comic called The Dancer. That's a mini series I'm hoping to pitch around. And yeah, I'm really happy with the success so far.
And can I ask you, because I'm a huge fan of DC Universe, probably on it like every night. What are you doing over there for that app?
So on the news section, we get to write different types of articles over there. So I currently, we write binge this articles. So if I really like Stephanie Brown's Batgirl, I get to write about why you should read it. A recent article I did was why you should watch the Aquaman pilot, and I hadn't seen that in since it came out, so I had to rewatch it and do an article. So it's pretty much just talking about what the catalog of DC Universe is in a unique perspective, top 5, crazy Batman suits or whatever. So we get to have a lot of fun with again the large catalog of DC Universe and get to post articles over there.
Well, that's cool. And do you actually get to come up with these articles yourself, or are you guys working together as a team, creating different topics and stuff?
So we get to pretty much pitch our own articles every month. Our editor will be like, hey, we're kind of looking for something in the vein of Deceased or whatever. And then you say, hey, I have an idea for Deceased. How about best zombie stories of DC? So we kind of come up with our own pitches, and but they sometimes give us a little push of what direction and what's being added to the app / the service.
That's cool. That's awesome. I love that app. It's incredible. I think personally.
I was intrigued that you started talking about some of the cartoons that influenced you, and you mentioned Static Shock. Have you pretty much a new comics person on Wednesday, or do you get back issues too, like the Milestone stuff?
So when I was a kid, I definitely got more Milestone things and all that, and I would get into Static in that regard. And going into the comic store now, I have a full list of new comics mostly. So I would get about 10 to 20 books a week, which is crazy. But yeah, no, it's cool that I've been able to, I think just like everybody, I'm sure the MCU shows or the movies have helped someone find their favorite character, right? And get into these comics.
Yeah, both that and bringing older fans back because they remembered something that was great. You mentioned the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and there's obviously scenes in that are straight out of the Romita comics.
Oh, for sure.
And so great stuff like that. I used the pandemic and the absence of new comics to really start filling in a bunch of milestones because I was doing mail order every week, so I'd have new comics every week because I do the Wednesday thing too. I've just only been doing it for twice as long as you've been alive.
It's nice to get some back issues. I took the time to do more trades and stuff to kind of get in my collection because I would say at this point you get everything that you kind of want in the collection, but I feel like you do find some nice gold mines in general. But for me, it's always more about the story than just oh, cool, I have this issue #1. So yeah, I try to get as many trades as possible during the time. And also, I guess, take a little bit of the break, too, because work is always consuming with comics is also somewhat nice. The only positive, all right, I have a little break on Wednesday. I get to do something else. But also in Newsarama, we actually did a lot of throwback interviews. So that was a lot of fun, be able to dig through that. Just today, it was released our Judd Winnick Green Arrow interview, and that did
really nice.
Well. Yeah, so it was cool to kind of explore those books and kind of go back to them.
Cool.
Sorry, go ahead now.
Oh no, go ahead, Jeff. You're already.
I was just going to say that's a great feeling. One of the things that I think that when you dig into whether it's new stuff or older material, and you get to talk to creators that are involved in it, you find out what was their springboard into this. That's one of the first questions we asked you. What got you into this stuff? So bringing that forward to now, what are you reading now?
Oof, that's a heavy question. From what company, I think there's some great Kickstarter books out there that I try to grab and really try to, try to back up the platform that's given me a lot. But the direct market from DC, this just ended, but I really enjoyed Dial H for Hero. I thought was really good. There's a new Batman creative team that I've been enjoying. Marvel, I like a lot of the teen heroes. I enjoy Spider-Gwen. I like Miss Marvel. I'm a huge Runaways fan, so I, kind of stay in that vein. Immortal Hulk has been really great. But then there's some really great indies. I think Red Mother from Boom Studios has blown my mind for a horror book. Family Tree I just read this week. That's been great. Some franchise stuff like Power Rangers, I think Boom is doing a great job with. You can go to every company. I think you could find a nice gold mine, which is great.
This is wow.
That was my question. That was my question. I was going to be like, so what are you excited for, on New Comic Book Day and stuff like that? Have you read Strange Academy?
I did. I read the first issue for that one. It was fun. It's kind of weird because of COVID. It's just like, oh man, that was so many months ago. Like what happened in that issue? And because you read so much every week, I'm like, wait, yeah, that was good.
Yeah. That's one of the books I'm looking forward to. It's coming out soon. Issue 2 is coming soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get it on Comixology and watch it. I'm gonna read it because I haven't read it yet. So
you can watch it, Billy.
I could watch it. That's
you
what
can
I'll,
watch it
I'll
as
watch
well.
it. Kat, before we get into like father like daughter, and because I just love your story. I just think it's fascinating that you're 15 years old or so, and you say I'm going to have a YouTube channel. And this is like when YouTube first started. I mean, how old is YouTube? 13 years old, maybe.
Yeah, I think it started in 2006, and I was like on there like 2009, 2010. So I was like, yeah, YouTube was really different back then. The comic book YouTube community was really different back then.
How did it differ today compared to today? Because it seems very active. It really.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, YouTube. I could go have a whole TED talk on how YouTube is different, but YouTube obviously was less commercial. It was really more about sharing videos. Like you'd have like a video response, and like I think that's how maybe it was Jenna Marbles. It was somebody who became really popular because they just had a video response to somebody, or maybe it was community channel. So it was very much about like community. It was about it was kind of like a forum of videos, right? And you're supposed to have very short videos, and that's what was very popular. And then you have like kind of Vine take over that, and YouTube was allowed to have longer videos, and you got live shows now and very popular. Going to comics, I would say it was more about the individual reviews. So it was more about, let me show you my favorite comics. Here's my haul. It was very much about the weekly comics. But then I would say like Comic Storian, Comic Explained really changed the game and made it more about explaining comics. And for people that didn't know anything about it, they were like, well, this is what Immortal Hulk is about. Let me tell you the whole story. And I think that's more popular, is digging back into the past than the current comics. I don't know if there is, sadly, that place. I think also very much about grading comics now. It's very much about the auctions of comics. And I don't know if the weekly comic reviews or the videos are as popular anymore. I still try to do it and I still enjoy doing it, but it's definitely not what I think people go on YouTube for with comics.
Yeah, I think also because there are so many pros now that are so active that people make their living in comics. And you'll see these big names and having their shows and the COVID-19, I'm sure, that really even, strengthened tenfold. It seems everyone's got a YouTube show, which is really cool because I love watching this. I find it inspiring. But but back then, did pros go on? Because I don't remember, I can probably count on one hand how many YouTube shows I did, unless it was maybe at a convention that somebody might have interviewed me.
Yeah, I feel like there wasn't as much. I mean, maybe you'd get a comment here and there, and Twitter wasn't really a thing. And I feel like that's where a lot of pros and fans connect these days. Because like, where did you really connect back then? Like you have a forum for DC or whatever. And yeah, I wouldn't say that the pros were on YouTube as much. And again, I think YouTube was just such a different place. It wasn't a business as much. It was definitely more of social media. Let's talk. Let's make funny videos about cats. And now it is more of a business venture to have YouTube, and every business, and even every creator could and should have a YouTube.
Big business too.
Well, I think you're right, Billy. I think a lot of them showed up on interviews. There were a lot of, like where you would show up would be like convention interviews where somebody came by and they were doing, and it was probably somebody doing it just for fun, but they came by and got a comment from you. I remember some of that stuff early on, and I know that's how I ended up on some.
Yeah, and I'm jealous that I didn't think about this earlier. Like,
well, I don't think it was really on the on most creators' minds at the time, because it wasn't really that popular, I guess, for professionals to be going on. But then as time started changing and we became so digital, they found other ways to connect. So they were hitting YouTube, and really with the events going on right now, they really kind of don't have a choice because they can't do, you can't go to conventions. They're being canceled and postponed to rescheduled for next year, and they still have to sell and do commissions. So they're being forced now to actually go digital. I mean, I think they're doing that more. I see more on like Facebook and stuff because that's where most creators are comfortable right now. But some I see are slowly starting to also develop a YouTube channel.
Twitch also is big.
And Twitch is big. Yep. Where they do a lot of drawing and stuff on that as well.
I got to get a Twitch account, I think. Do you have a Twitch account, Jeff?
Nope.
You gotta get a Twitch, bro.
I don't. I wish I did. I know it's a whole different beast.
I gotta say, videos. I just have to say that it's such a relief that I'm not totally behind everybody.
At least
I've got a question for you, and that's I think I met you at Best Comics when you had the first 3 issues out.
You did. I was at Best Comics. Yeah.
Okay. And I really enjoyed them. And I wondered, so that was a couple years ago. How many issues do you do? Like, obviously it's been 3 since then, but over what amount of time did it take you to get 3 more out there?
So luckily this year we've now created a tract where we could create every 4 months an issue, which in the indie world, that's crazy.
That's nice.
But before it was about a year. Every year we would have an issue because you want to build up. It's not even just to finish the issue. It's like you want to build up the fan base. You want to build up the Kickstarter. You want to do all these things and make sure it's correct. And I think now that we've done as many Kickstarters as we have and obviously proven that we could get funded, we're up to the point where we could do at least every 4 months to get these issues out and really get into the trades because that's so important in indie comics and to sell those trades. And our first trade did extremely well. And I'm very excited to get into our second trade.
So if you look at what your Kickstarters are very straightforward, and it looks like very much continuation of the 3 that I read in terms of the spirit of what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I have a question. Is in doing Kickstarters, everybody, well, not everybody, but everybody tells you, oh, you need a video, and you've done this one without one.
Yeah.
Have you felt any impact from that?
No, it was a creative choice not to because like I put my face everywhere and be doing YouTube. I'm just like, what am I going to just keep repeating myself on this video? I think the page says it all. And I actually think it's a bit cleaner without the video and has not had an impact at all not to do a video.
That's really interesting.
Now, do you have plans to put this now, or if you already are, forgive me, are they in comic shops? Are you through Diamond now? You have your books?
Not yet because of all the Diamond craziness. So for this book in general, it's been so Kickstarter heavy and I've kind of kept it that way because it's an ongoing book and I know that's where the audience has been. I mean, I would love to get into stores and kind of figure out the profit and the best route to go profit-wise with that. But my other book, The Dancer, like I said, I'm trying to pitch that one around. So that one's the one I've been really trying to get in the Diamond. And right when I was going to pitch it, COVID happened. Oh, wow. And I was like, this is not the time. I'll just shelf this for a second, I guess.
Of course. That damn COVID.
So tell us a bit about, like father, like daughter. I mean, what's the premise of this? And this is for issue. Does it say through 1 through 6?
Yes, it's 1 through 6. So this technically was to launch issue 6, but to do a Kickstarter, you really have to say, hey, it's 1 through 6. That way people don't feel like they're lost or be like, I didn't get issues 1 through 5. So why would I back this up? So all the issues are available for people who want to catch up. But it's about a high school girl. Father left her to become a full-time superhero. Everyone in the world loves him except for her. And then she inherits his abilities. And in issue 5, spoiler alert, it's already out, but it's a big part of the story. And to show how the story has continued, we actually find out that Casey's mother, our main character's mother, worked for the KGB and has been the villain the whole entire time. And we get into that story with issue 6 of how the mother, the single mom we all thought was a good lady, ends up being the villain and get into her origins. And let's just say maybe is the reason that the superhero father left.
Oh, now does the mother, without spoilers, does she have powers as well? And
she does not. So her power is just to be a very bad KGB agent, I would say, without spoiling anything. I would say she's a very morally gray character, right? She's a mother. She wants to protect her daughter, but she also is very driven by her duty and her country. And it's really the question in this issue and this whole arc is, who does she love more, her country or her daughter? And we're going to get the answer for that of who she cares about more.
Well, now, is this the Soviet Union or is this Russia?
Soviet Union. Well, it's going to be, it was the connection of the Soviet Union. It technically is Russia now because Soviet Union doesn't exist, but for them, the Soviet Union still exists in this world.
You are a retro girl, throwing out all those old references and talking about things that don't exist anymore. You're an old soul, aren't you?
I am. My favorite band is the Beatles, and I love them to death. So I'm definitely an old soul.
It's our favorite. Our favorite band as well, huh? Well, it's mine. Old
after the Oneaters.
After the Oneaters. Have you seen that thing you do, Kat?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
well. You'll have to watch it and then come back.
Yes,
I will. I definitely
We're going to do
will.
that thing you do reunion show.
Ooh, we should do that. Can we stream it live, Billy?
I think we should. Yeah. Definitely.
So, Kat, let me ask you though.
We could get dozens of viewers.
I know.
You might get 6. Half a dozen would be great. Let me ask you a question. How long have you been working on this story? Like, when did this actually first become a thought?
I would say about 5 years. So just to kind of get this off the ground and to, again, try to get the fan base to build this. It's been about 5 years since the screenplay, actually maybe 6 years since the screenplay. So yeah, about 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Now, like, so let me ask you this. So why should people back this book, or these books, actually, I should say?
I mean, if you're a superhero fan and a comic fan, I really try to put everything you love in a superhero comic on its head. Mm-hmm. And it's very much about the characters, and it's very much about their story. You hardly see, like, Jim, our main guy, our main superhero, fighting a supervillain besides Casey's mother. I would say every villain is very grounded. They're very intertwined with all the drama that's going on. So I think it's a mix of slice of life and superhero. And I think if you enjoy the genre, you'll see what twists and turns I'm trying to put here. And yeah, it's very much about the characters.
Mm-hmm. Kat, I got a question to ask you, and we have a lot of people that watch our show that want to put on their own Kickstarters, their own Indiegogos, and that you have the physical Pride Month cover. And as everyone knows, June is Pride Month. And what a terrific idea. Have you gotten, by doing that showcasing Pride and having a cover dedicated to it, have you gotten any extra push from Kickstarter? Have they pushed that? Have they, being that it's a socially conscious comic?
I actually haven't, which is interesting. I haven't seen it, maybe because of how many projects have been going on. I've seen my previous books that wasn't as socially conscious get more of, like, the projects we love. But it could also be because Kickstarter is in a very transitional space right now, which me and Billy discussed on our show, or on my show. So I haven't actually. It's very, very interesting. You think I would on that one, but yeah, it was very important for me to showcase that. And I've seen a lot of, which is even more important, I've seen a lot of fans grow attached to that and grow attached to the idea. And I'm very excited to showcase some more representation and diversity in the book.
You have very, very affordable levels for people.
Thank you. Yeah, I try. I really try.
Really do. I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, she could charge more for that. The full digital catch-up video of the first all 6 issues now, including the 5 preceding ones, obviously. When you do your digital ones, because I get these questions from people all the time, what's the resolution of the digital? Because you don't want to make it that someone could print them out, right? That they could copy it or ape it. Do you have it on a lower resolution that we can just watch it on, say, an iPad or our computers or phones?
I actually don't have it on a lower resolution. That's something to think about. And I'm really
think about, because yeah.
That's true. I don't actually. I use the tips that I use for the print. So for the print version. But yeah, that's interesting. That's sadly the world we live in, is the pirating world of comics.
Yes. Oh, I am doing my homework. I am. Because people have asked me, and I'm like, I don't know. Because we're putting together our digital perk for Way of the Warrior, and I think that's something everybody should look at. Is, well, what's the resolution? Because you don't want people to copy it. You don't want, like I said, the pirating. You don't want someone to be able to take this right here, your art and stuff, and make shirts out of it, which I went through with some of my art last year, and then even whole books. Just saying, it's just something to.
The interesting thing about pirating is that the number of people seeding the torrents is actually growing substantially. It used to be. Home. Yeah, and I think that it'll be interesting to see if it falls off at all when people go back to work. But the numbers of comics on the torrent increase. But the number of people seeding them now is increasing too, which is a lot different than it used to be. You used to be able to track it to a certain number of actors that were doing it, but it's really interesting, and I think it affects the small creator substantially more than it affects the big companies, because I don't know about you, but I've never made thousands of dollars from my comics.
No, it's true. And I try to preach that with all my shows, because I think there is a disconnect for some people where they're like, well, I can't afford those comics. And I think, which is obviously, that's the big thing to say, which makes sense and totally. But I would say the comic industry and even indie creators like us, we always have an opportunity to make it cheaper. Maybe there's a sale. Maybe there's even a first issue that's up for free. And then also for the bigger companies, go to the library. There's so many opportunities to get it there, or say, hey, I really like this book. Can we get it into the libraries?
And your libraries are probably taxpayer supported, and they probably get evaluated on how many people use them too.
Yeah, for sure. So I think even with that comment, there's always a different way to, and then, people want to read it right away. We're like, well, I want to read the comic when it comes out. And then you have to sacrifice a bit. And I mean, that's the whole point of a budget, and you figure out which comics you want. And yeah, for the indie creator especially, it literally kills or makes a book. I know Image Comics is Crowded, which is a great book. I know they suffered with that, and their last arc has to be in trade because there's so much pirating for that book and in general. So it's something that really plagues this industry. And I know people are like, well, they do it for TV and movies, but yeah, obviously it's very different in an industry that makes millions of dollars compared to the comic book.
It's true, but if we carry it a step further, the cameraman didn't make millions of dollars, and you're taking money out of his family's table, So I think your points are really well taken. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's also, digital is important because we get so many emails for our campaign, so many messages that people overseas, because it costs so much money to ship comics, especially if it's a thick book, hardcover, the shipping gets very expensive. So a lot of people that are overseas say that in Europe or Asia, they would rather just read the comic and not have to spend $30-$40 for shipping.
But then that's why I made such an effort, and I think a lot of people make an effort to make some of the digital copies cheaper, because we do understand, it's so expensive to go internationally. But like the full digital catch-up, if you add those together, 6 times 5 is actually $30 and not $25. I knocked off a bit more because I make every issue 5 for my comics. So I really want to make it affordable to people and try to get as many different people to read it. And I think that's something I really try to do. Yeah.
Well, you're doing it. You're doing a great job. So what's next for you? Is issue 7 next, or what's next?
Issue 7 is next, which is another crazy issue. I'll say issue 8 changes the game. It literally changes the comic, and I've been so excited to release that one. So this book is always about its twists and turns. I was keeping that secret about Casey's mother for 5 issues. I'm like, finally, the main part of this book I get to talk about. Issue 7's next. Like I said, I would really like to get this going for like an October or September Kickstarter to try to get that done. The Dancer book, we have issues 1 and 2 physically, and also you have an add-on for this book if you want to try that out. Really trying to pitch that around, and you just creating more comics. Right now, working on another series. Right this second, I'm working on another one, so just putting as many comics out there as I can.
Well, you're doing it. You're doing a great job. Well, we want to thank you for having you on. Please, everyone out there, if you could help them, she's like father, like daughter, issues 1 through 6. They've already passed their goal, but as we say, that's the minimum funding goal to get this book made. So if we can help Kat out here, to propel, so the funds can then go towards the next issue. So issue 7, because especially with Mom here, it's getting real intriguing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, guys.
And Kat, where can everyone follow you? Because you have your articles on Newsarama, you're doing your stuff for DC Universe. Where can they follow you and your other work?
At Comic Uno is definitely the best place on Twitter and Facebook. And then I'm also available on YouTube. It's under Hayden Claire Heroes, but Comic Uno, you'll find me. Those are the best places to find me.
All right, excellent.
Well,
all right, Kat, well, thank you so much.
Continue good work. I really enjoyed the first 3, so I'll check these
I
out.
appreciate it. And again, it's crazy. It's a small world.
Yeah, when you're back at Best Comics, let us know, because I'll hit it too.
Of course.
Love to meet you in person.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
JC says it's good, then it's good. People.
Yeah,
that's all
I appreciate it.
JC's a comic snob.
He's a comic snob.
He is.
He's a comic
I
certainly is. He really is.
Well, if you liked issues 1 through 3, I think you're going to really enjoy the next couple of issues.
All right, good.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Kat.
All right, Kat. Have a great night.
We'll see you at issue 7.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Wow. That's awesome.
Cool.
Awesome creator.
Hang on. Let me quit out. Okay. I'm learning.
Learning. The training wheels are coming off.
Yes.
Great stuff she has. That's so cool. And
Yeah.
I've actually read a couple of her articles on the DC Universe app. She's a heck of a writer. She really gets in, and it really looks like she knows what she's talking about. When it comes to fact checking the stuff and getting all the info in when she's reviewing. So
phenomenal.
Heck of a creator. Yeah, phenomenal. And we've got our next guest in the house tonight. So without further ado, gentlemen, if I may bring in Chip Mosher.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
How are you,
Chip?
The gang's all here.
The gang's all here and ready.
JC Vaughn, I haven't talked to
How are
you in forever, except on Facebook.
Except on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that when we got to hang out at San Diego was before you went to work for Comixology in 2011.
Yes.
So, and you more or less saved my sanity, my friend. So.
Well,
it was a long time ago, but I don't forget it.
At San Diego?
Yeah.
So you were the one whose sanity was saved at San Diego.
It really, all it was natural versus mature reactions to handling a bad PR situation, and this man is a professional.
Watch out.
So
that sounded like a compliment. I appreciate
it was a very sincere compliment, and it affected my thinking ever since.
There are 2 things that happen to me that I can count on every San Diego Comic-Con. One is that I get a new wardrobe, because that's when I get new clothes.
Yeah.
That's when I get new shoes.
That's always a good moment.
I get sneakers a month ahead of it and break them in for that show.
I get them there. We set up the booth Tuesday. Then we go Wednesday morning, we go to the mall. And Debbie's like, all right, pick out your clothes. That's where I get my new clothes. I guess for Christmas, I'll get a new shirt or something. But she's like, you need this, you need that. And I wear all new clothes at San Diego because I wear the same things all the time. And then, and secondly, is my wife and I get in a huge brawl setting up the booth every year. Chip, we've exhibited there for 26 years in a row. And every year we argue about the setup of the booth because it's unlike any other convention. And then she walks away. And then
she doesn't walk away until I do.
No.
I leave before that.
Yeah, solo runs. And then Chip, so what happens is that we set up the booth the way she wants it, because she's like, just go to the room or something. So I leave, I walk around and take pictures of everything being set up when I'm not supposed to. And then I come back and I get there early before her on Wednesday. I get there Wednesday afternoon, probably an hour before the show, and then I rearrange everything the way I want it. And she never made it. But I still don't learn my lesson. I still get into an argument with her while we're setting up this show.
It would just be very easy to go, you're right, and freak her out.
I should.
Yeah.
I should.
It's like reverse psychology.
I'd like to get that on video if you do that.
She's like, go upstairs and go wait online for the bags. The big bags.
Before we dive in to Chip's eclectic background.
Oh, gosh. Watch out.
I want to say that just sitting here looking at the group, I realized that in addition to comics, the 4 of us have something incredible in common, and this we chose significant others way out of our leagues.
Very, very true. Very true.
Very true.
I had a good excuse. I went to a college with 8 girls to every guy, and half the guys were gay. So
That was at FIT.
You sure
right?
fooled her.
at FIT. I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology. It was awesome. I had the pick of the litter. I was like, I could have done anything.
So that explains that.
That explains that.
Nile, what explains yours?
Yeah,
It was a whole catfish situation, a few little tall tales, and next thing you know, she was stuck with me. Win for me. She got used to it.
And Rosina introduced my best friend and his now wife of many years. And strangely enough, not even knowing her, I picked her name out of the prospective bridesmaids. I said, no, pick that one. I like that name.
That's great.
Nice.
wow.
And years after the fact, I found out that Chip's bride wrote one of my all-time favorite movies.
There you go. This is actually her desk, which is a lot prettier than my desk.
Well, it's very telegenic, Chip.
So Kim wrote Before Sunrise. It's probably most well-known writing credit. Also kickstarted a book several years back on femme fatales. So we like our noir in this family.
Nice.
But yeah, Kim and I met at South by Southwest in 1997 in Austin, Texas. And she gave me her business card with her phone number on it, which I thought meant call. She thought, go away.
But nobody in Hollywood wants to be the person who says no.
Yeah.
The rest of us don't know this.
I know, right? So I called her, persistently until we had our first date, and then I think she likes to tell the story that she's like, then I found out you're an okay person. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So you are a Texan, and you have been into pop culture for a very long time.
Yes.
How did you take your first steps into it professionally?
Oh gosh, would you consider working retail professional?
Yeah, if they paid you.
I haven't told the story in a very long time. Comics Value Monthly came out, and they had just priced up the first issue of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. I think is it 314 or something like that.
Was the 25th anniversary one?
No. This is like 87, 80, 86, 87. Like his first Spider-Man book. It just jumped.
Todd's in the 280s or 290s.
Yeah, so it was like 294 or something like that. Right?
That sounds like maybe.
Yeah.
And so, it had just jumped in Comics Value Monthly from $1 to $10. And so I was at Phoenix Comics and Games on Gessner, which was
Is that in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
That was in Houston, Texas. And it was run by owned and operated originally by Cecilia Pierce, who now goes by Cecilia Shore, and her better half Jeremy is more well known than her now, and they run Titan in Dallas now. And so I was just hanging out at the store, and I went to the back of the store, and I found like 10 of these Spider-Mans at $1, and I was like, Cecilia, give me the price gun. And I just jammed up the price to $10, and I put them on the counter, and I was like, let's see what happens. And they were gone in an hour.
$298, by the way.
$298, yeah, $298. And so I was four off. Yeah, you might know something. And am I Comics Value Monthly? That
just cracked me up. Did I let that slide?
I know you let it slide. Oh gosh, the Overstreet update came out. Sorry. So then she was like, do you want to have a job here? And I was like, sure. So I think I was like 13 at the time. And so I started working retail at the local comic shop, I think it was 87, maybe 88. It was a great time to work retail and comics. I mean, Watchmen had come out. I remember Dark Knight came out. I remember the store I was going to when I picked up 2 copies of Dark Knight #1 off the stands, and the guy was like, it's over $2. Why are you buying 2? And I was like, because I'm keeping one to read and one to sell. So
you were already
I knew what I was doing. I sold that one for some money, and I got a Nexus drawing by Steve Rude at a convention in Houston a couple of years later. But anyway, it was just a great time to be in comics. A black and white explosion. I was a huge Cerebus fan. Early on, I think also because of the times, you could read X-Men and you could read G.I. Joe, but Kamiko was coming out with such great stuff, and First and Eclipse and all the black and white stuff. So I was reading Cerebus and Lloyd Llewellyn and then crazy black and white stuffs and and black, some of the Blackthorn like strip reprint, so you just got the whole gamut of everything.
When you talk to people about that time, it was the first blossom of the diversity of product that we have now.
Yeah.
And there were those periods. You mentioned First, you mentioned Kamiko, Eclipse, all these companies, and each of them, it seemed like, had somewhere between 6 months to a year and a half where it was just compulsory to read everything they were putting out. And that just broadened you out, and you'd be willing to try all this black and white stuff. And some of it was really good and creative, and some of it went nowhere, but at least you tried it. Anyhow, sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It was just, it was fantastic. And I never understood people that just read Marvel or just read DC, because we were reading and I didn't have any friends that were narrow-minded. And Bill Willingham lived in Houston at the time, and so he was at shows, and there was a couple, Larry Taylor, who's now passed away, and his wife Lori were doing shows almost every quarter in Houston, and they were bringing really great guests. Jaime Hernandez, Gilbert Hernandez, Spain Rodriguez, Bern Hogarth, Doug Wildey. To a fairly small show. Great people, Denny Lubay, and so that just really sparked my interest. And then I'm probably one of the few people that worked at Capital City and in print distribution and digital distribution. So I spent a summer there was a Capital City warehouse in Houston, Texas, and spent a summer there counting comics, which was not the best job in the world, but it was fun. And
counting. Okay, wait. In the summer in Texas.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that was
in Houston.
In Houston, it was like
so that was like all the pluses of Dallas Fort Worth plus humidity.
Yeah. Right by Astroworld, at a warehouse in Astroworld. But in the 80s, Houston has this, and I didn't realize it at the time. Houston has such a huge, big sci-fi comic book fan base.
What do you attribute that to?
I don't know. I mean, in 1970, I read somewhere that San Diego Comic-Con was huge, and then there was a Houston Con that was the other huge con for that year.
I didn't know.
But there was, and I think I counted one time, and in the mid 80s there were 35 stores.
Yeah.
In Houston, and I think part of it was, I don't know when. I'll have to talk to Milton, who's funny. I'm friends with Milton now. I didn't know him. I knew of Milton Greep when I was working at Capital City, but so I get to go to Milton and say, "Hey, old boss." But I need to ask Milton when that warehouse opened. But yeah, I mean, there's such a big science fiction community and comic book community, and there's still great stores like Ricky Evans, Bedrock City,
sure.
is fantastic, and I guess Jen King, who I only know from online, but Cecilia had 2 stores. Phoenix, there was one in the inner loop area, in the hipster cool area of Houston, and then the non-hip area where I was. But you know, you know, it was just a great time to collect comics. And then I went to Austin, and went to school at University of Texas, and had met this guy Martin Thomas, who colored Crying Freeman and a couple other things before he got out of comics. And he introduced me to this guy Shannon Wheeler up in Austin, and then the three of us hung out, and they did Adhesive Comics, and so I was helping Shannon a lot with his comic stuff, with Too Much Coffee Man.
Did you do shows with him, like when he did shows?
Yeah, I
might have met you then. That's so weird.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was at the Dallas Fantasy Fair where Dennis Kitchen met Stacy.
Wow.
You know, because I used to go to the Dallas Fantasy Fair all the time. You know,
good show.
That's another guy, Larry Langford, who, you know, I was weird. Both Larry Taylor did great shows in Houston, and Larry Langford did great shows in Dallas. Both are passed away, and you know, I was able to reconnect with them both on Facebook. You know, and I met Larry Taylor out in Seattle before they passed, and that was nice, and I got to thank them. So yeah.
So in Austin, which, you know, a lot of us know for a great music scene, did it have a great comic or science fiction scene?
Yeah, well, you know, when I got there, Chris Ware had just left, right? So I believe the story. So if you were a cartoonist and you wanted to have a strip and you lived in the Texas area, you wanted to have a strip in the Daily Texan, because like Berkeley Breathed, I believe Bloom County, if I'm getting I
don't know. Was it called Bloom County? But even if it wasn't, it was Bloom County.
Yeah, probably right. How, do I get to chat in these live comments? Someone's asking, is it cool? I don't know how do I.
Lutiart says, is it cool that I promote blacking out in my Instagram?
Yeah.
As well, with screenshots I took from the Kickstarter page. Also, Chip, please let me know if there's anything you'd like me to add in the caption.
Please promote everything.
Yeah, Lou is one of our good guys.
Thank you, Lou.
Lou also has a full Cerebus collection. He's got all 300.
Yeah, the first 150 issues are amazing. The second half, you know. Anyway, you know, you just read the first 150 again. You just start from the beginning. Just start from the beginning. It makes me sad. Anyway,
weed of crime bears bitter fruit.
Yeah,
weeds are fruit bearing.
But yeah, so there was a great scene in Austin, and you know, Gilbert Shelton. You know, I mean, I'll just eat up all the time here. Like before I even get to working at Boom in 2007, I could speak for like an hour about Austin and things before then. But so Gilbert Shelton. So here's a lot of comic book history that nobody knows. Gilbert Shelton was doing the posters for Vulcan Gas Company, which was a late 60s, early 70s psychedelic club where Janis Joplin sang in Austin, Texas. And it was partly at least owned or operated, or he did the lights by a guy named Houston. I forgot Houston's last name. Houston later married a woman, Diane. Forget Diane's last name. Sorry, Diane. And in the early 80s, Diane started a video, you know, place to go rent videos. That was like the premier hip place in Austin to rent videos, called Vulcan Gas Company. And cool and then, you know, Shannon, since Diane was Shannon's aunt, Shannon worked at the Vulcan Video, and I got a job there. And there was a guy in the back, Fat Charlie. And Fat Charlie was fixing the videos, and Fat Charlie, we found out later, was the model for Fat Freddy, and so and like opened for Hendrix in his psychedelic rock band. I think it wasn't Shiva's Headband, it was something else. Anyway, I could go too deep into Texas weird history, but it was funny because Shannon was going to France for the first time before I knew him. And his uncle Houston came up. He was like, "Hey, can you here's some photos? Can you stop by this apartment in Paris and give these to my friend Gilbert?" And he was like, Gilbert who? Oh, yeah, Gilbert Shelton. He's like, you know Gilbert Shelton? I've been a cartoonist my whole life, like since I was a kid, and you've never told me, Shannon spent some time with Gilbert Shelton in France, and so there's like 2 generations of comic book history in that Vulcan gas company, Vulcan Video. But then later I did film stuff with Oni Press, and that's when I met Ross Ritchie. And then I retired from comics and went to work at the Apple Store for a couple of years and worked on my writing. And then I showed it to Ross, and Ross decided to publish my first comic, which through Boom, which was something that me and Francesco Left on Mission, me and Francesco Francavilla did. And then they hired me as the marketing director there. And then I spent 4 years at Boom. But when I started, Boom was not in the top 20. And then when I left, we were number 6 in the direct market. And so that was a fun 4 years of a lot of work. And then I made the jump to Comixology, and I've been at Comixology ever since 2011.
And what are you currently doing at Comixology?
I am the head of content, and I oversee the Comixology Originals exclusive content program.
Wow.
So I have 2 friends working on one of your original books now. I don't know if I can give the names out. But...
If it's not announced, then please don't.
Yeah, I don't think it's in it, so I won't. But Chip, if I may,
Billy, it's not me, is it?
No, it's not you.
Okay, good.
No, it's not you. Question to ask you. Well, Chip, so how do I get She onto Comixology?
Oh gosh.
I have so many issues of She, and I have Atomic.
I didn't know it. I didn't even know it wasn't on.
Billy has so many issues. Period.
I have lots of issues, Chip. Lots of issues.
Can you just remind him that they're digital. He still thinks it's like an online store.
Yeah. Do you have the PDFs?
Yes.
Yeah, just shoot me an email afterwards. And
okay, do you want to mention? So usually, and this is a question, if you don't mind, for when somebody does submit something, say to Comixology, and of course get to blacking out, do you want the PDFs as one combined issue?
Yeah,
all as one PDF, or not individual ones? Don't send you 70 different PDFs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just every issue is a separate PDF.
Oh, so that's fine in a folder then. You don't mind.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Well,
let's get it on there.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking though, because a lot of our viewers are independent creators.
Sure.
Doing their own crowdfunding on Kickstarter and Indiegogo and things.
Sure.
I do know a couple of them that do have their books on Comixology. But coming from yourself, I mean, what is the process for an independent creator to get their book on Comixology?
Yeah, in 2013, we launched Submit on Comixology. So it's submit.comixology.com, and you just go up there. There's a click-through contract. You sign up, and you send in your work, and there's a tad bit of curation. We make sure that someone's not just drawing stuff on Crayola on paper and scanning it in, and then it goes up.
Oh, very cool. And now I know that's Comixology is an Amazon partner, Amazon company, correct?
We're a wholly owned subsidiary.
Very cool. And I do have to say, it's a great service they have. I believe it's like $5.99 a month, and you get so many access to just a massive library of books. I mean, it's a hell of a deal. I was telling Billy about it earlier today. I was like, I've had that subscription for such a long time, and in the beginning, my wife used to yell at me like, "What are you paying $5.99 a month for?" I'm like, "It's $5.99. You know how many comics that would be?" Yeah. Right. And I was showing. I was like, "Look, everything I want's right here." So I can go to the comic shop and spend hundreds, or I could get my subscription here and get access to so many digitals.
Yeah, no, it is truly, even if I didn't work there, I'd say it's a truly fabulous service. The Comixology Unlimited, it's $5.99 a month. Currently, once the pandemic started, we increased the free trial period to 60 days. Oh, wow. And so it's no risk, 60-day free trial. And you can check it out. I believe there's over 25,000 different items you can read. So probably more things than you could read, and it'd probably take you a couple of years at the very least if you did it full time. But don't quote me on that. Yeah, I mean it's fantastic. And so the program that I run in my day job, when I have my day job hat on, is creating helping get exclusive content up on the service. So we work with creators, and we have a creator online under Comixology Originals, and then we do a lot of manga. And so we've been doing working with Kodansha. There's a lot of a manga series that never finished because of the Tokyo Pop implosion. And so like Beck, which was a New York Times bestseller, just had not finished. And so we've worked with Kodansha and put it all up, Initial D. And then right now we're slowly doing Drops of God. So Drops of God is a wine manga. It's like 44 volumes. And and when it came out, it just didn't have the person doing the translating didn't really know the wine aspect of it. And so we did a deal with Kodansha to bring it back and work with the content creators and make it very legit for the wine. For us winos out there.
What's interesting about that is context. If you're not informed about wine, like me, it wouldn't throw you off if they got it wrong. But when you have somebody who does know what's going on, it can ruin the series for them if it's wrong. And it's really cool. It's really cool to see stuff with great translations. Dean Mulaney's doing Cordo Maltese now, library through Eurocomics, and their translation. He's working with a guy, I think here in New York, translating them, and they're just phenomenal volumes.
Oh man, I'm so blessed working at Comixology and be able to travel the world, and so I've and this leads into why blacking out is this humongo size.
I love that.
I love that.
Is since 2013, I've been for my day job, I've been going to Angoulême. I got to see the Hugo Pratt exhibit, which was mind blowing.
Nice,
I mean, just mind blowing. And yeah, I mean, it's so fascinating just how the Franco-Belgian market approaches the medium in a just completely different way than we do, and the sort of this is their standard format. It's most time 48 page. The art is like basically it's a widescreen panels
How did your artist Peter Krause? Is it Krause? Krause?
Yeah.
How did he take to it? Does he like?
He loves it. Loves it. Doesn't want to go back. Doesn't want to go back. Yeah.
Well, Billy, if you recall a couple weeks ago when we were talking to Jimmy and Amanda was talking about that she wished she could draw everything in the Black Label format. Yeah. Which is closer to. It's closer to what we originally thought of, like the Marvel graphic novel, what we called the European album format, but they've even gone bigger, as Chip just pointed out.
Yeah, the Black Label is, I think if those came out in hardcover, I think they're about the bande dessinée size. I think one of the things. So DC licenses all their foreign to a French publisher, Urban Comics, and Urban does such a fantastic job. The Kingdom Come that they have over there is on matte paper, not the glossy, and it is phenomenal looking on matte paper. I mean, it's phenomenal, and their design is. And I know the you could tell that the people at DC have been inspired by what Urban does, and Francois over at Urban does such a great job with the books there. And so, but yeah, I mean, what a lot of people don't know is, the last survey that Milton and Jonathan Jackson Miller did on the United States industry is that it's a $1.1 billion industry. Comics is in the United States, with like 350 million people. In the Franco-Belgian market, it's a $1 billion industry with a sixth of the population.
Wow.
Sure.
So
And Chip, I think you just really stepped into something that I think is really important for those of us that like comics. And I'm not a big believer in differentiating between digital and print. If whatever gets you to read the comics makes me happy.
Yeah.
But one of the things you just talked about is we are living in an era. If you think about back to everybody except Nile when we were younger, if you think about it, and the level of social acceptance that comics have in this country is unparalleled in our lifetime. You know, what's going on right now, it's never been greater, and yet sales are still sort of If we collectively can't sell more in this period, I think that's on us.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I have to be careful, right? Because, I have my day job.
Sure, of
and
course.
I have my two hats, right? And
diplomatic is welcome.
And when I spun up Blacking Out, which was going to be my follow-up. My immediate follow-up to Left on Mission.
Holy crow! You waited a while.
Yeah, I'm about one comic book a decade, one graphic novel a decade. So expect my next release in 2030. I can't wait to be on this show. Let's just put it in the calendar now. But when I spun up Blacking Out, I was in the PR division of the company, and then as and I'll get into this later, but part of, I talked to a bond S&A artist, a BD artist, and I was like, what are your contracts like? And he's like, well, I have 6 months once I sign the contract, I have 6 months to turn in the first page. And then I have 6 months to turn in the 48th page. And it's like, oh, that's why these books are beautiful.
Yeah.
So my approach in working with Peter and Julie and everyone was, Peter was like, what's my deadline? And Peter's worked in comics for decades. And and with people like that, they'll get it done. So my deadline for Peter and for Julia and for Ed Dukeshire, the letter, Julia Bresco, the colorist, and Tom Muller, who designed the book, it was like the deadline is how much time you need to give me your best work. Because I don't, the last comic I did was, last decade. So I ain't in a rush. And so by the time this got halfway, it's like about 4 years, off and on. By the time I had, then I'm doing this original content program and stuff. And so I'm just bobbing and weaving a lot of, conflicts of interest, and, really have to keep a lot of church and state. And so no one that did the lobby cards, there's all these people that I work with at Comixology that I originals that I'd love to have done lobby cards for me, but it was just I just don't want to
totally get it.
Yeah.
So it's like what are the books not coming out from Comixology originals? It's like everyone that did a lobby card. So those are all the people that I don't have any or did not have any relationships with before. So so in any case, let me just give you a lot of public information that is not readily talked about. So the ABA did pre-pandemic came out and said did a paper. There's 1,000 more independent bookstores in the United States than there were 10 years ago. So independent bookstores are exploding right now, and that's fantastic.
Phenomenal.
But they gave a number for independent bookstores, and that was 1,900 independent bookstores. So, so Diamond, usually says there's 2,500
Ballpark.
comic shops, right? So what does that tell you? We have more comic shops than independent bookstores.
That's disturbing too.
Yeah, I mean, but, is it disturbing? Or if you look at where comics were in 2009,
Oh yeah,
2008. It's like a $500 million industry, and now we're at 1.1. I mean, we're growing leaps and bounds.
I think so. I think if you look at that, my personal feeling is that's still not enough. That was where my disturbing comment went from.
It's never.
But it's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to keep it in perspective that, you know, the general book industry, you know, has less independent bookstores than comic shops, you know, and so I think it, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think, you know, the pandemic's awful, you know, I'm heartbroken at all the people that are hurting these days. But I think as an industry, we came into this doing pretty darn good. I mean, there's always ups and downs, but I think we'll come out of this stronger. And I'm really excited to see everyone banding together and helping everyone out. And, you know, and the response to my silly little graphic novel, you know, has been phenomenal, you know, and so that's great too. So it's,
hey, can we show the video?
Yes, we will. So here we are, and your little comic you're talking about is Blacking Out, and you had a $500 goal, and you
seem to have made that.
You're
about to hit.
We've done okay. We've done okay.
Of $34,000, and you've got a week left. So Nile, if I may, could I run the video, or do you want to do it?
It's all you, man. It's all you.
All right.
Wheels are up tonight, fellas.
All right, here we go. So let's run your video, Chip, and then we're going to talk. We'll get into the whole graphic novel by you and Peter. So let's see if I did this right. Let's see.
Hi, this is Chip Mosher, and welcome to our
Sorry, want to make it bigger? There we go.
Kickstarter for Blacking Out. 20 years ago, I moved to Southern California. Good news is this. When I moved here, I realized while there's been lots of great stories about water in Los Angeles, there haven't been any great stories about fire. And I'm also a big crime fan. I love James Ellroy. I love Jim Thompson. I love Charles Willeford. And so I was driving up the 5 one day, and I'd fallen in love during the Southern California fire season with just the beauty of the destruction and how the light from the sun changed with the smoke in the air. So I was trying to capture that on film. And the idea for Blacking Out just hit me like a ton of bricks. And so I wrote it down, and then I knew I needed the perfect collaborators to do this book. And so I called up my old friend, Peter Krause. Known Peter for years since we worked together when I was the marketing director at Boom Studios, and he was drawing Irredeemable. And Peter and I talked about the book, and he drew it and just did a bang-up job. And then I knew I needed the perfect colorist, the perfect letterer. And so I reached out to Julia Brusco, who just did an incredible job on Scalped over 60 issues. And Ed came in. He's one of the best letterers in the business and just really spent a whole heck of a lot of time on the lettering. And then we got Tom Muller to design the book. And having gone to Angoulême in France and experiencing the bande dessinée, the European album format, I really fell in love with that format and conceptualized Blacking Out as a one-and-done 56-page European album hardcover. And that's what we have.
Gorgeous.
It's going to be beautiful. The book is completely done, and it's ready to go to print. So all we're asking you is to support us so we can get the money we need to send it to the printer. Again, the book's done. It just needs to go to print. And I hope you will support this Kickstarter so we can do that. We have some great rewards, including lobby cards by luminaries like Eduardo Riso, Francesco Francavilla, Marco Andolfo, Elise McCall, Patrick Reynolds, Ryan Kelly, Jamal Eigel, Dan Panozia, Jacob Phillips, Emma Rios. Give the Kickstarter a look. Check it out. I hope you like what you see. I'm really proud of this book, and I can't wait to hear what you think.
Nice. I apologize, Chip, that you wanted to talk. First of all, that video is great, and you explain it all. We've gotten feedback from time to time that when we don't mute the mics, that people say that the sound isn't good enough. So that's why I had muted the mic.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
But it's just great. So what's the story? I mean, the art, Peter's art is fantastic. But can you give us a little tip? I mean, I love.
Yeah, it's about a drunk ex-cop, Conrad Sauer, and he got kicked off the force. I think he passed out drunk, was found passed out drunk in his car, and left town in disgrace. And he's been hired by the local defense attorney Lund to find out who really killed Karen Littleton. So the year before, there was a fire in Edendale, which is a little imaginary commuter town outside of Los Angeles. And once they put out the fire, they found the charred remains of a teenage girl, and she had an abusive father, and so he was fingered as the murder suspect. And so Conrad is hired to find out who the real killer was of Karen Littleton, and he sees it as his big chance to make good.
I think it's amazing, Chip. I've been a fan of Peter's art for a long time. Before Irredeemable, I knew him for the long run on Power of Shazam. But I don't think I've ever seen him colored like that. Is there other work that I'm missing that had that kind of color? Because it's just incredible.
No, I mean his black and white line work on this was fantastic. I mean again, I think giving Peter a different format to tackle, and also telling him like, hey, take your time. He really just dug into it, and we worked very non-traditionally. The script that I gave him didn't have any panel breakdowns, and so which is one of the reasons why I wanted to work with Peter. Other than I'd seen a lot of his work, having worked with him at Boom with the Irredeemable and done the PR and marketing for that series. I knew his versatility more than most people, and I knew that he had come from a storyboarding. He storyboards when he's not doing comics, and so I really wanted him to storyboard out the book, so it was art driven instead of the writer who can't draw. Panel 1, crowd scene. Panel 2, crowd scene. Panel 9, crowd scene. Thanks for that page. I just like read the story, and I wanted Peter's version of my story on the page, because that's going to be the best comic book that we can get. He's a storyboard guy. He's got a degree in journalism. He really knows story inside and out. And so we really a super deep collaboration between myself and him. And I think it just brought out some of his best work. And then getting Julia to come in and color. Poor Julia, because basically I didn't have a script for her that I wanted her to look at, because after I went to the lettering first. After after Pete was done, I contacted Ed, and same thing. Ed, take your time. And so if you look at all the word balloons that are on the Kickstarter page, in the couple of pages that we've revealed, you'll see that like there's no 2 word balloons that are the same. It's up a little bit. Nope, there's a lot. I put a lot on this page. There you go. There you go. See, if you look at that inset right there. Like he hand drew with the mouse, like all those word balloons. And the thing I love about what Ed does is he changes his word emphasis is so artistic. He changes the font and the sizing inside the word balloon, and it really just there's a dynamicism. You know, it's more dynamic in a way that feels like old hand lettering to me. And so, but Julia, so I just wanted Julia to color the book based on the lettering, because I did a lettering draft based on the artwork, and so she's like, what time, you know, is it twilight, is it morning? And so then I had to go through the PDF. I was like, day, evening, morning, you know, night. And she's like, okay. And she really brought the sort of the character as Conrad is trying to solve this murder. You know, it's the fire season in Southern California. There's another fire just coming, barreling down on the city.
It seems to me, looking at the examples that you posted and listening to what you're just saying now, that the environs that she's aiding in the depiction of are an essential character.
Oh, completely.
You look at that background right there. That's not just mood that you're talking about. That really is environmental.
Yeah, and one of the second tier digital reward. So I like the video said, the video showed a bunch of these pictures of the photos that I took of a fire that was happening up the 5. And so I took off one day with a camera and took a bunch of pictures. And then after I wrote the story, I went out and I found some places that I thought would be like, you know, Anita, the main female, you know, Anita's house, or Maddie, who's a mechanic, who's Conrad's friend in the story, like Maddie's garage. And I comped up, I did a bunch of Photoshop collages, which, you know, I'm fair to middling on that stuff. So, you know, and I gave her that, but I think, you know, she really captured the quality of the light that happens when the fires are around. You know, like last year there was the fire, you know, over on the 405 by Bel Air and by the Getty Museum, and I'm 10 miles away from that. But the sunsets, the nights that the fires were blazing, looked just like this page that Julia did.
My writing partner just lives off a sunset in Hollywood, and so I know what you're talking about. You can be 20 miles from them and still have it affect what you're seeing in the sky. So yeah, that's I totally get that. Yeah, I like you're doing you've been in California long enough that you do the thing and you don't even notice it, like the 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, I've got a question about this. When did you know from the beginning that you wanted to do the large format, or did you make a decision as you were doing the story?
I wrote the story, and then I fell in love with the format, and so when I approached Pete and we got into it and we kicked off the process, and that, by the way, that card, that's Mirka and Dolfo's lobby card right there. And so once we kicked off the process with Pete, that's when I had conceptualized it. I wanted it 48 pages. Pete did 48 pages, and then I did the lettering draft, and then realized we needed a couple more pages to really stick the ending. And so I think it's 54 story pages and 56, super tight. And but it's funny, people that read it, they're like, oh, it didn't feel short, you know. And I think it's because of the widescreen format and you know, and just how big and the physical size of the pages are, you know, on the, you know, no one's read it physically yet on the screen.
It seems so much more cinematic too to have so you can have your widescreen, you know, 70 millimeter, you know.
Yeah, man. When I was, you know, I was in a meeting at DC pre Black Label where they were pitching us on the, you know, on the Black Label concept, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be the guy that breaks this format in the States. But I'm just so happy. I think that Black Label format is fantastic. I couldn't be happier with their DC's success with that. I think it's fantastic. I'd love to see more of that.
Hopefully it'll set a whole trend, with you leading the way, of course, not that little DC company. But I love it. I just love that we're elevating it to an art form. And as you were saying, that people in Europe, they look at comics as an art form, and hopefully now with the exposure that comics are getting and how we really are on the cutting edge of pop culture, if you will, and how it's cool to like comics now. Hopefully now more publishers will recognize that fact, and because I know the artists will love it. To go with that wider format, the more premier format, the larger size European model, if you will.
Yeah, and I see that Lou T Art has said that he pledged and refreshed. I just checked. I don't see a new pledge.
Yeah, that's why we're refreshing it, Lou, to try to get that up there. Now, Lou had a question earlier on, and he was talking about your writing style.
Sure.
So he has written. It's if I can find it back, all of you, please, if I can. Thank you. Okay, there you go. How about if you go about it from a finished multi-volume script to getting it ready for multi-panels? All right. Well, Lou, I think what Lou is trying to say is that Lou wrote. He needs help. He's a writer. Well, punctuation. You're going to have to go back to your old English books, buddy, for that one. I don't know if I can help you with that. But you had this about the panel layouts. Now, some people like to work, Lou, in full scripts. Personally, I do. I get lost into it because I guess as a cartoonist, Chip, that I'm drawing as well while I'm writing the script, and I start with a script first. I'm kind of making it easier for myself when I do put pencil to paper. So I do get locked into that panel one, medium shot or two shot of two characters, over, bird's eye view, worm's eye view. And I do that basically for myself. So then I can, when I get back to the script and it gets time to drawing it, that's right. That's what I was thinking. But someone like you and Lou, here's something that you get someone like an accomplished writer like Chip, is that Chip didn't write panels. He left that up to his artist. So I guess, is that a new process for you, or is that how you want to go forward? Is that how you've always worked, Chip, is to just write it?
No, I did panel breakdowns for Left on Mission. I mean, again, I'm the least prolific writer in the world. I think my advice would be like everyone finds their own way, and I think especially in comics, it's just there's nothing that's really set in stone. It's not like film or TV. And I think for me, when I sit down, and even when I did Left on Mission with Francesco, I did the panel breakdowns later. I just want, I'm such a newbie writer and not prolific. I just wanted to get the story out, and then I figured out the panel breakdowns, and that's my process, and that works for me. And I think, my admonition to Lou would be to just figure out what works for him.
Yeah. I think one of the things is you may need to explore several different processes. Mark Haynes and I have written a lot of licensed comics together, and I think we've maybe written two of them the same way. It's just like sometimes we'll bang out a plot together, like I'll visit him in Los Angeles or something, and then the next thing you know, I'll write the script and he'll do the rewrite, or he'll write the first half of the book and I'll write the second half of the book. And it's all different things, but that goes for creator-owned stuff too. Find out what works for you, try it out. Don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to revise if what you're doing isn't working right.
Yeah. You know what I found, Lou, what I found to be helpful as I'm transitioning my script is I was at Michael's, and I had found I found this a while back, and I've been using these, and I take my scripts, and as I'm trying to develop my style from going to my script to my panels, as I'm learning my own way, I then take my pages. Lou, and I use these pre-formatted. I don't know if it's showing it. It's not really showing it. Oh, it's photo blue. That's why.
Is it grid?
It's not coming up. So what it is it's gridded out. You've got little boxes. You can like take a page and you can kind of take your points and stuff. What do you want to break out, right? And then you can actually, while you're breaking out your script from your page, to kind of bring everything down, you can actually outline your page while you're doing it at the same time. It's a neat little pad. I mean, it's probably more for like hobbyist kids and stuff that are making their own comics and things. But I found it to be very helpful. You know, there's
yeah, and see, so Lou, there's all different types of processes, and Paul Jenkins is in, and we have Paul on tomorrow night, right? Paul's coming on.
Yeah, Paul's going to be a guest host tomorrow night to hang out with us.
Paul is an amazing, not only is an amazing storyteller, but he's a great teacher too, is sharing his process and all. And you're just going to have to look at all different, listen to different creators, listen to Chip. Listen to Nile about his, listen to Jeff, how he writes, listen to Paul tomorrow, and you'll figure it out. And also talk to your artist too and see how your artist likes to work. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Chip, right? I mean, some of the greatest comics ever written were written in Marvel style.
Yeah.
Right? So Stan just said, this is what happens. And then he just gave it to Jack and let Jack just run with it. So it's really what makes
I mean, it is, comics don't happen without the artist. It's not a comic, and so to place the art in the process collaboratively in some lower tier from the rest, it just doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't work. I mean, you can have a bad written story and it still can be a great comic because the art's great. Very rarely do you have a good story with a really bad art that it doesn't work the other way. And so, my admonition to comic book writers is whatever you can do to make sure the artist is giving you their best work and figuring out, it's like Alan Moore would write those, hey, I'm sitting down drinking my coffee, and I'm thinking about this, and I read this article in the newspaper. Okay, so I'm thinking about, and some of those comics that he wrote that way were like little letters to the artist that were the scripts just embedded in the letter. I mean, some of the best comics, ever made. So, it just depends on the process. I don't think it's any coincidence that like Bendis used to draw his own work, or there's so many of the people like Bill Willingham. People don't remember that he wrote and drew Elementals, that he started out as an artist.
Right.
I mean, people just don't. I don't think people connect the dots there. Where a lot of the major best-selling comic book writers are also artists, and so I think when they approach scripts from an artistic viewpoint. And I'm just not. I can't. You don't want to see any of my drawings.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually paid not to draw.
I'd like to see your drawings. Though.
Yeah, you don't. And so having Pete drive on the art was the single best decision I made in doing this book.
Well, I got to tell you, Chip, this is a beautiful book. I love your lobby cards. I think that's.
Oh, thank you.
I love from the size of the book.
Totally stealing that idea.
But just for what you're giving, and I mean, if you look at your levels here, for $50, you're getting a signed and numbered book with the lobby card plus a digital thing. I mean, it's incredibly affordable as well as just like our last guest Kat was too, and it's great to see this, and it's just it's a beautiful, beautiful book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really wanted to. I mean, part of I've had a couple of people ask like why ask only for 500? I'm in the enviable position where if it didn't make like exactly what it needed to make for printing, I could make up the difference. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't feel comfortable like during the pandemic where people are losing their jobs. I had this plan to go live in March. I think we went live in May. No, it was going to go live in April. And so I waited. And then I just, Pete and I talked about it and decided really to pull the trigger only because the book was done and we could deliver it right after the Kickstarter ended, digitally, if not in print. And so I actually had the what do you call it? The level, the funding level, like way higher. And then I think 3 days beforehand, I just cranked it down to 500 because I just felt like that was the right thing to do for the times. And then and then I feel like the stretch goals, like sometimes they just, or the rewards. I go to a Kickstarter page and I'm so confused. I'm just completely confused.
I know.
So I just wanted to, hey, for $50, you get not only the book signed and numbered, but you get these lobby cards by some of the best artists in the business. And bam, here you go. And if I did,
I mean, man.
So yeah, okay. Man, that I when I wrote it, I shouldn't say this. I told myself I was going to say this in an interview. It's a Torino, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wrote it before. I wrote a draft of this before the Clint Eastwood movie came out, and then I was like,
Oh, beautiful. No, buddy Dan Panosian.
Oh, Panosian just killed it. Ryan Kelly with Jacob. Julia was busy on a deadline, and so she couldn't color some of these lobby cards where like Panosian colored his own.
Yeah, but look at the palette. The palettes are
yeah, fantastic. And so we got Jacob Phillips, who did a lobby card, who's coloring Brubaker and his father's book, noir books, to color. He colored Ryan's. He colored this next one by Patrick Reynolds. He colored Elise McCall. Yeah, Patrick knocked that out of the park. So yeah, and it was fun. I just gave the book to all. We gave the book to all these people and was like, pick a scene. We only had one person pick picked the scene that was a big spoiler, and we had to say, don't do that one. Everyone else picked their own, and then that's a special lobby. That's just additional lobby card by Pete, and then we have this next lobby card by Pete with Jacob Phillips coloring it, and you can only get that with the Virgin tier, which is the $200 tier.
That's just so cool.
Yeah.
So that's the rare lobby card right now. I think I counted up. I think there'll be like 7 of those that exist.
Sir, you are truly giving the Europeans a run for their money. I got to tell you,
definitely.
This is beautiful, and you could just see the pros that you're working with. And this isn't some kid saying, "Hey, let's put on a Kickstarter." This is, my goodness.
When you're only going to do, when you're averaging one book every 10 years, you got to make it count.
Put a little effort into it, right?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll be doing another one. It won't take you another 10 years to do your next one.
Maybe just 5.
Well, I'm looking forward to this being a movie because it looks like a movie. It reads like a movie, not just from your lobby cards, but just everything about it.
Check out the Jamal Eigel one. Go to the Jamal Eigel one. It's the a pool table.
Jamal, yeah, all right.
Oh, look at that, and with Jacob Phillips coloring Jamal. I mean, holy cow!
That's not something you would think of.
No.
Yeah.
Like you look at his work on Firestorm or like say Daredevil She, and you would not say Jacob coloring him, but by golly, that looks great.
Yeah, he really knocked it out of the park. Really amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's I think one of the coolest things about comics is like the putting it's like Terry Austin inking John Byrne. It's like that's the best. It's like putting people together that you wouldn't otherwise think of.
There was whoever the editor was, and I'm sorry I can't remember. But Lee Weeks just did 3 issues on Batman, and the editor had Elizabeth Breitweiser on it, and I would have never picked that, and it was so cool. You know, so all sorts of stuff like that. I just backed it, by the way. I had to.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna back as well.
Did you get us to 34, JC?
I believe I did.
Hang on. Refreshing.
Refreshed it.
Yes. 34,000. We're $960 away from the next stretch goal, which is the Francesco Francavilla lobby card as a sticker.
Nice. I love the stickers. Good. Yeah. So you have to get it because
I gotta say, seriously, the lobby card is so totally fitting the tone of the art and coloring. And I remember your story from Left on Mission. So I'm hoping that this is just like you've described it, and it just seems like it all fits just so freaking great, man.
Yeah. It came together really, really well,
And you know what? We haven't talked about it a lot, but the design work seems great too.
Oh, I mean, Tom. So Tom, when I got Pete on board, and I contacted Tom, he was like the next person I hit up, and I was like, Tom, we're gonna do this book. It's gonna be bande dessinée, your size, and I want you to do the logo and the design, and he was like, yeah. And so then like 3 years later, I'm like, okay, Tom. Now we're finally, we kept in touch, and I gave him the black and whites, and I gave him the lettering, and I gave him the colors, and so he was there at every step. I just want to make sure that he was engaged, and he was like, oh man, this has come together so good. And so then when I gave it to him, he had just gotten hired at Marvel to do the whole X-Men book the X book redesign. So he's like redesigning the whole Hickman relaunch and stuff, but holy cow, I mean, look at that logo. Yeah,
it's
and what's great about it is once you read the book, and this is the thing I love about design and really good book jacket design. Once you read the book, you're gonna look at the book jacket in a completely new way.
That's really great. I've only got, I know we're a little over the allotted time, but I actually have one more question, and that's, where did you print this thing? Where are you printing this thing?
I'm using Regent in Hong Kong, so fingers crossed.
So maybe delays with that.
Yeah, maybe delays. I know there's some other options, but I've been going back and forth with Regent, and I've had the luxury of doing some wet proofs and really getting, I mean, how many people these days like get their case cover?
Yeah.
I mean, this is, but I just wanted to see it. Want to see it. It's like if you're only doing one book every 10 years, I'm not going to take a risk like, oh, the PDF looks good. I don't want to, no.
Chip, you have to come back when the book is printed and we can all read it. We'll do a
live read.
A live read. Yeah, we'll go through all the pages and we'll swipe through, and maybe we'll put the digital version up, but we'll go through it because this is something I really want to read. I love it. I love it.
Well, great. I'm excited to hear the feedback.
Absolutely.
And then Louis says he has one more question.
I'll give you my feedback now. It rocks.
Thanks, JC.
Lou has one more question. Okay, what's the question, Lou? Please show the cover again. Is that your question, Lou?
I don't know. I
don't know. Well, there's the cover.
Just ask your questions, guys. No need to ask. Just ask your questions.
Look at that spot gloss.
Look at that.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
Gorgeous.
What's it about? Bad people doing bad things.
Nice.
Hey, Chip. Anything in the Amazon originals you want to plug?
The ComiXology originals. Oh man, yeah.
It's a Gran Torino.
Ask for Mercy by Richard Starkings and Abigail Jill Harden season 2 trade just came out. I think Tuesday or last week. I can't even remember. It's so crazy these days. And Richard, who's been in comics for a while, with a up and coming talent, Abigail, and she's just she's like Bill Sienkiewicz level like art style, and it's a fantastic book. And then we had our first acquisition by Amazon Studios last month with Kurt Pierce and Alex Diato's book Youth, which we did weekly. We did 4 issues over 4 weeks. And how
did the weekly play out in terms of reception?
Oh, it was great. It was fantastic. I mean, the best thing about doing this is ComiXology Originals is that we can play with a lot of different things that otherwise wouldn't people wouldn't play with. Release strategies weekly. When we launched in 2018, we launched Elsa Chartier's book, Super Freaks, all at one time, all 5 issues at once. We'll probably do that again soon. We'll do another weekly soon. We're doing monthlies, weeklies. We'll see. I mean, it's a lot of testing and learning and figuring out new things, and it's a ton of fun. It's my dream job. Definitely my dream job.
Awesome, man.
And old Bean, as we were talking, it's good to work at what you love, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I went back to Houston. I don't go back to Texas that much, and I was having dinner with a bunch of my some cousins that I hadn't seen from the '80s, and they were asking me what I did for a living, and my dad was right there, and he's like, he's doing the same thing that he was doing as a teenager, selling comic books. And I'm like, well, not quite, but yeah, he's like, I don't understand how he did that. And my dad's a hard-headed and very focused person, and I was like, Dad, I'm just I got it from you, buddy. So if you focus on it and you want it and you stick with it, you make it your passion, you make it your career.
It's a great feeling. I was telling Billy earlier, I was talking to my mom, and I just said, 25 years I've done what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And there are people who never get to do that a day in their working life.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had a friend who was complaining about his job at some point, and I said, I was like, you can love your job. Mm-hmm. And it was like it was like I said something, that he had never even conceived of. And it broke my heart, So yeah, I mean, I think if you want it, you can make it happen. You just have to not let anything get in your way, and and I don't think I could have done this in Houston. I had to move out to LA, and a lot of people wouldn't have moved, and et cetera, et cetera. So
that's it.
Wow,
well, sir, this has been a pleasure and a privilege, and all of us, we can't wait to get blacking out. And you've got to come back on. And even you've got a great comic story. And I'd love to have guests on that have these incredible journeys, these adventures to getting from, like you said, so many of us started working in comic shops. And then all the people that you've met along the way by coming down from Houston all the way up to Austin and then out to LA. And we'd love to have you come on just for anytime you want to come on.
Well, I could tell you about my first real big sales job, Billy, when I come back, which was selling my parents on letting their 16-year-old kid in 1989 go to San Diego Comic-Con and taking
I knew there was a story you had told me that I forgot, and that was
took a Greyhound bus, 72 hours.
That's a great. That's get on the bus or something. We'll call it.
Second day, I was at Julia Schwartz's 70th birthday party and talking to Mark Hamill.
Wow. All right, so we're gonna have.
We have to get that scheduled.
Comic-Con, we want to have shows every night during the con.
Oh yeah.
It's since we can't go and to tell our con adventures, and we'd love to have you on for that next month.
Yeah, anytime, man. Happy to do it.
Thank you so much,
Chip. You can get away with a book every decade, but we got to hang out again soon.
Yes, sir. We do. Thank you all so much. Super appreciate it.
Yep. Everyone
out there, Billy, thanks for having me on this evening. I really appreciated being a part of this, and I will catch you guys very soon. Nile, we'll talk tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good day, old Bean.
All right.
Thank you, Chip.
Thank you.
Everybody out there, we have the links in the chat for blacking out, and please go and pick it up. And it's a great book. Boy, what a great show, Scala. What a great show.
Unbelievable. I'm glad I'm skipping my priorities right now.
I know.
But hey, we got two creators back on the show tonight. Two brothers. The brothers creators.
The most handsome brothers in comics. Is that what I hear?
The most handsome brothers in comics?
I don't know what. I don't know.
Well, let's see. Let's bring on Philip and Brandon Diaz. Gentlemen.
Hey, what's
welcome
up?
Back.
How's it going?
How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for having us on, man. It's been a while.
It has.
It's been a crazy year.
Brandon, it's good to meet you. Phil, I think you and I met like a year ago.
That's right. Yeah, that is right.
Carry one of my suitcases across the street to the hotel at Comic Revolution.
That's true. Yeah, I have was actually prepared for this, and I actually have a picture of us. Nile, if you wanted to show this. This is us.
Oh my God!
Look how tiny you look.
I know.
What is that?
And
Philip, what is that man doll you're bringing with you? What is that man doll?
They're
Well,
tall.
Billy-
They're tall. They're like you, Scala. They're super tall guys.
Not a lot of people know this, but Billy's actually 6'2".
Yeah.
I'm just a freak of nature.
And we played some football.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so me and Phil are about the same height then, because I think that's where you stand about next to me too.
Oh, well, you know.
It's my man doll.
I gotta get a glass of water. Let me go run.
You have to get a glass of water.
Well, you've been drinking. Everyone's drinking. Brandon's bombed right now.
Jealous?
Brandon does look bombed.
He does. What do you got there? You got a Manhattan there? What do you got there?
He's drinking.
Yep. It's straight iced tea.
Oh shit! You guys are fucking nuts.
Sitting with the
The strong stuff,
You guys are
man.
nuts.
It's strong
So you've had a
stuff.
crazy past year, man. Tell us about the year at hand. How has it been crazy?
Nowhere.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, launching Magic Cop, we came on to promote that, which was awesome. Thanks for having us again. And that was our first comic, crowdfunded, our first graphic novel, and that was awesome. We had a great reception. We just we didn't close it yet, but we just sold the last copy of the first print run on Indiegogo. It's like 280 backers on that, and $13,600 made off of that campaign for Magic Cop. And now we're back with the second one, man. It's been nonstop work on these comics and just rolling into this next one.
Yeah, what was the final totals for Magic Cop?
I'll look right now. It's 13,651.
So now with the Lost Pages, you guys have already surpassed that.
Yeah.
In demand, and you guys still have 11 days left.
Yeah, this is 11 days of our first 30 days for the Lost Pages. It was insane. We launched the book on Dan Fraga's channel. He was awesome enough to have us on, and within
boy Fragaboom.
Yeah. Fraga's been awesome to us. He's a great new friend, and within the first 3 hours, we surpassed what Magic Cop made in 2 months on Indiegogo.
That's great, buddy.
That's incredible.
You're on your way.
That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it should be. Every campaign is another step, you know, or 2 steps, whatever you can do. So, you guys came on the show first time, we kind of met, introduced you guys, had Magic Cop coming out, and now you've got the Lost Pages, which just looks freaking intense. I mean, this looks incredible, guys.
Off the bat, they got Bisley to do a cut.
What the heck was the brainchild of this?
Yeah.
Well, this was
what drugs were you on?
Nothing. This was the first time we ever came up with a comic character. Was one of these characters. That character in all black right there, named the Silhouette.
That's a great title. Great
Thank you. He's basically a shadow ghost man, right? He's a supernatural vigilante. And I was going through our old paperwork and stuff, and I saw the original concept that Brannon did, and it was dated back in 2011. So not a lot of people know this, but we did small print runs of an original Silhouette comic back then. We would take pictures of ourselves and our friends in front of a green screen, and my brother Brandon would Photoshop it to make it look like a comic. So it was totally different. He was our first hero that kind of kicked off this Lost Pages universe of heroes. And throughout, we took a break. I went to college, and throughout college, I would still write short stories about these characters, about the Silhouettes and Wildcard and all this crazy cast. Then we did Magic Cop. We got a following, and the plan was always to come back to these characters and kind of do our connected universe of heroes for the Lost Pages.
So would you consider this more of a passion project now? Something that it seems like this has been quite, in the works for quite some time.
Well, I mean, it's always been there. We've always wanted to come back to it, right? Life gets in the way. I was 18 when right out of high school when we first started doing the silhouettes, and then took a break. So it's kind of like coming back to your old love, and now that we have the fan base, thanks to CG and everybody that is backing us, they're really taking a liking to these characters. We have a bunch of friends now that are great artists that could help us out. We could hire for this. It's been wild. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, this book looks great. So can you give us a bit of a premise of this book? I mean, is it all different stories tied into one book, but they tie in together? I mean, what do we have here with the Lost Pages?
Yeah, sure. If you scroll up to the kind of like that page right there with the trash fire.
Which one?
The next page down. Yeah.
I apologize. Okay.
No problem. Yeah, scroll. There we go.
He's learning how to produce a show.
I'm learning how to produce a show and all, you know what I mean?
So the Lost Pages is our first book in the connected universe of heroes that we have here. It follows the story of the hobo. He's this homeless man who has this giant magical book called the Book of Lost Pages, and in it are these tales lost to time about these heroes that live in this world, all intersecting, but they're from different eras, different walks of life, and drawn in different styles. And as he tells these stories to passersby, they and us, the reader, get glimpses into these different heroes' worlds, basically. And eventually, in this series, these heroes will come together, fight side by side, face off against each other, and eventually write the end of the world and the end of the book. So it's the start of something really big. As you could see when we scroll through the pages, each character has its own style and theme and genre, and that is indicated by different artists as well.
It's gorgeous book. I really like the style of this and what you guys are putting together here.
Thank you so much.
I mean, look at that wild card. Yeah.
Brandon, what's your thoughts on this book? Do you like it?
I'm super excited to see it. It finally coming together. I know Phil's been working super hard on it. It's, when we did Magic Cop, it was like kind of one of the. I mean, it wasn't like last minute, but it was just like, oh my God, we could actually do something. We could put together a comic like this, and so we just ran with it, and it was going to be a video game, and we ran with it as a comic, and it was kind of. I mean, it was kind of like one of those last minute things, and we put all of our work into it. But here, this has been such a long running design. We've been designing for such a long time, like the project's been in the work, and seeing Phil like pour his heart and soul into it has been awesome. And getting these really phenomenal artists together with these really unique styles. I think it's so cool finally seeing these characters that we designed such a long time ago being put down on the page.
Now, who drew Masquerade?
So the Masquerade story is drawn by, in the main story, is drawn by an artist named Alan Alonso. He goes by the Howl Comics on social media and Twitter. But the way we found him is he won the fan art contest for Magic Cop.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Damn, I submitted like 3 pieces to that, and I didn't win.
He's a digital artist. He does all of the Masquerade from digital pencils, inks, and color. And
computer.
Yeah,
it looks really good. It looks really
Masquerade.
good. I like it. I like his style.
He's the only digital artist on the main book. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, him doing the colors and the line work on those pages it's such a cool thing. He gets like that dynamic where he's able to control the color in his mind before he puts it down. So, he can like set up those things like that page where the Masquerade is blocking the bullets with the sword, having those kind of faded out colors or like those opacity drop colors, kind of be hard to illustrate for a colorist to get that point across, but him being able to do both of those things, it just turned out so awesome. And his style is so cool, and it just fits like that pulpy old cartoony style.
Hey, Billy, scroll down to that.
It'll be the
keep going down.
The second page of the Masquerade.
Go up then.
No.
Oh, down.
Still down.
Down. Go down.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Going down.
I missed it.
No,
Keep going down, bro. Keep
Bottom
going.
one.
They've got so much, bro,
There you
right
go.
there.
No, I
Look at how cool that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was actually an homage to the first page of the late great Denny O'Neill's The Shadow run. So we kind of, the Masquerade is like that pulp hero, right?
Was the mask? Is this like one of those public domain characters, or is this a character you created?
No, we created them.
Because it looks like an old. It feels like an old, like
it's supposed to.
Thank you.
Yeah, the character design just this is not a character that was taken from one of my original designs. This is like a Phil, almost an entirely Phil-centric character. So he wanted this character for such a long time with that Masquerade mask on, and he had a different name, and he had a completely different design back then when we were designing him. But I'm not exactly who did the redesign on this new Masquerade, but like that costume is so classic and antiquated, but it's such a cool, like old Shadow-esque or like Zorro design. It's perfect.
Like I'll be honest, like if I saw this, right, like I'll go back to my Batman the Animated Series. Like you watched you watched this cartoon and then you saw the comics, right? And it's like you looked at the comic and you're like, oh, I know there's a cartoon for this or some type of animated thing. Like you look at this and it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, because there's a cartoon. Like it's just so well developed that when I first scrolled through your campaign, that his artwork, those pages just really gravitated towards me. It's just like you said, it's solid. Like the line, the inking, the colors are just unbelievable, and even like the silhouette. I love what you guys did with that because he's like a shadow in a way, right? He's like a ghost. So the pages are haunting. There's a haunting feel to the pages. So your guys' designs and what you're doing, and as because this stuff's coming back to you guys are the editors of this. I mean, you guys really do have a good eye. You have a good take on your designs, your layouts. It really is. I definitely give you guys props on that, and it's cool to see from Magic Cop to this. Yeah,
it was a completely different, like just totally other side of the rock. Phil loved Magic Cop when you're working on it, but it's such a weird thing for people to kind of get their head around, especially for comics. But this one, being more like that superhero genre, Phil really wanted to go like bold, and he always uses the word bombastic with everything, and just like really stylized and in your face, and like undeniably exactly what it is.
Yeah, I can definitely feel it. And I love your Crim mask.
Yeah, that's really great.
It could save your life.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's incredible.
We made some prototypes, so you guys could add a mask on to any perk you want in the add-on section before you check out, or we have that perk that comes with the mask in the 2 books and the poster. This is something new we wanted to try for merchandise and stuff like that.
You guys, for this being so new at this, your campaign, you guys really put together a fine looking Indiegogo page. I'll tell you that.
Thanks.
I like how you give all the goals. You have your like I said, your stretch goals, your back, and then you break down the heroes of who everyone is, so it's easy for someone to read. And I think that's why you guys are kicking ass.
And you guys are like, I follow you guys and what you're doing. I mean, you guys are like sponges. You're really absorbing the advice. It seems that you're getting from other creators and professionals. And I know you guys are big in the Comicsgate community and stuff like that. And it seems like you guys are really doing it right. Taking advice from the right people, marketing yourself the right way. Staying positive. You're about the books. About the books. You're about the creativity. And it definitely shows. Your growth is definitely shown, man. And you definitely got me back in this project. I'll tell you.
Me too, brother. Me too. So can we watch the video?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
This is all gonna be me now. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Pay attention to the intro. It's the best part.
It's glitchy. Is it glitching?
Nope.
I don't think you have the audio clicked on, brother. Oh no, it's there. It's there. Just get the beats a little louder.
with a cover by legendary illustrator Simon Bisley. The Lost Pages is a story of a magical book in the hands of a homeless man. Within it are tales lost to time of heroes from different.
Now we can't hear it because you muted yourself. There you go.
As the word of the book is spoken around a trash fire, new crusaders of justice will be revealed to this world. A supernatural vigilante on the hard streets of Chicago named the Silhouette. An ancient sorcerer battling horrific myth on the high seas known as Wild Card. A modern-day mental monster from the mind of a bodybuilder babe, Brimstone. And a pulp hero from the 1930s, a master of disguise donning the mask of the masquerade. This is just the beginning, for in the future these heroes and more will come together to write the end of the world. But for now, the ink of life flows on every page. Will you be there to read it? Only on Indiegogo.
Yeah.
Only on Indiegogo.
Oh, man, missed that.
You're fine. You're fine. That
was my part.
I had, sorry, Nile. I thought I had to mute everyone so the sound got better, and I muted myself.
No, you got to remember to share audio. I think we were just hearing the audio coming through your microphone.
Speakers.
Yeah, I think so.
You got to share the audio when you share a screen. That's all. Just trying to make sure you click off that little box. We're getting there, bro. We're getting there. It's a learning curve.
We're getting there.
Funny story is I'm supposed to be doing work right now.
I know.
I'm going to be on the show. I was like, hey, Jeff, can you, or JCV, can you fill in for me? And he's like, yeah, man, no problem. And then I left the screen up. I come back down to the studio and I hear like talking or something. Like, is that music? What the hell do I have on? I have an iTunes on or something. I go over and I see them all on the screen. So I'm sitting there chatting with them. And they're like, oh, come on for a little bit. Why not? I'll just stay on for a little bit. And then, 2 hours in, I'm still sitting here.
Yeah, that's what happens.
I can't leave my baby alone. I don't trust no one else.
I know, because I would have totally screwed it up. But
yeah. But dude, this is great. So this is an introduction really to your guys' universe now. So like after this point, if you want to just do a Silhouette comic and crowdfund that, you can now move off and do that. So is this like the big introduction?
Yeah, this would be, building the foundation, man, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So now, are you going to split your characters off into their own individual comics? And
so eventually, I think that's what we're going to plan on doing. But there is, this is a big world, and we want to have our readers follow along with these characters, and that's what the whole situation was, right? So we're like, okay, we got a lot of characters. Do we spend 7 years introducing them in their own series, right, in their own comics, or how are we going to introduce all of them to an audience at once? And we kind of figure out a way to puzzle things together. So this is our 60-page book. You're getting glimpses into 4 of the heroes and the hobo telling these stories. And the cool thing with this as well, my favorite part of the campaign, is actually we have a bonus comic that you can get with it. For our featured tier or our $50 tier, you'll get the main book, which is the 60-page book, plus our bonus comic, which includes these 4-page short stories for each of the heroes. So you get, an even better sense of their personality and some awesome action. And then now with each stretch goal we hit, it unlocks an extra 4-page story for new characters that are in this universe. So it's going to be their first appearances, and we get awesome special guest artists. The one we just unlocked, Brandon did artwork for a character called the Pianist, who's our 90s bad girl assassin babe. And taking nods from some of the greats like She and Psylocke, characters like that.
Is that how you? Is it the Pianist or is it the Pianist?
I say the
called
pianist.
a pianist.
The pianist.
The pianist.
It's a pianist.
He's the pianist, brother.
This is America. You can pronounce it however you want.
We can't have
true.
no buds, man.
So she's super sleek, sexy. We put up an image of her also, and then with those extra short stories in that bonus comic for the new characters, you're going to get a trading card that explains who they are, gives a little bio. So we're going all in on these trading cards. We got one by Dan Fraga, of all people. He's doing our Crimstone trading card.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Bro,
Nice.
boys,
This is
book
great, guys. This is really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm digging this.
I'm gonna pledge in the morning though, just like with Chip.
No, brother. Thank you, man.
You guys, I gotta tell you, I'm so proud of you guys.
Thanks, man.
You guys came in again a year and a half ago. You know, you weren't the Diaz brothers. You know, there was no Zaid Comics that I was aware of.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Magic Cop, and I can just imagine what your next campaign is going to do because you're gonna blow this number away. You've got 11 days left, and then you'll be in demand, and then your next book is going to, double that hopefully.
I hope so, man. You know, it's like you guys said, you know, we're keeping our heads down. We're putting these comics out. This is our passion. We want to do this for a really long time. You know, create these characters because I just love creating all these characters. Like Nile said, you guys think that we have a good eye for, you know, these designing these characters. That's my most favorite part of doing this is getting these characters out of my head through another artist's hands onto the page. It's the best feeling for me. And to have someone like Simon Bisley for the first book that we're putting these characters out in to draw these characters on the cover was a dream come true.
So who got Bisley to do it? Beasley to do it, and then how did you tell the other one that you got him?
So we have a buddy. I don't know if you've had him on. His name's Sweens. He does a book called Oddity. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sweens is awesome, and he's a good friend of ours. And his writer, Indie Dave, he for somehow, some way or other, he got in contact with Simon Bisley's art rep, and they were gonna, ask Simon to do something, but it fell through. And I'm like, dude, you have his information. Like Bisley's my favorite, man. I'm a huge Lobo fan. If you guys could see what's behind the camera here, it's Lobo statues and prints and stuff. So I'm like, I need his contact information to see if I can get him to do anything for me ever. Because I've been trying to track him down since I met him 5 years ago at Chicago Wizard World. And he signed a bunch of stuff. He was so cool. He was doing shots with fans, like Jack Daniels shots on the convention floor. Like the guy is Lobo, basically. He's awesome. Yeah. So I got in contact and, asked him if he wanted to do this. He threw a sketch up, which is amazing. He did the piece. And to top it off, man, I swung it by him if he would sign a few copies. And he's like, I want to see the script before I agree to sign any of the copies. I want to see the script and some pages. So I was biting my nails. I got the script together, sent it off. I'm like, man, if he doesn't want to sign this, I'm just going to stop writing comics for the rest of my life. but he dug it, and he's signing 25 copies for the campaign. 11 of those are taken already. And we are so ecstatic that he's digging what we're putting out. And it's a good dream come true right now.
He's a very generous man. He really is. He's a great guy. And, and that's the whole thing for anybody else out there. If you want to say you have something that you really like to do a cover for you get nervous and all. I remember I got Frank Frazetta to do a cover for us. And everyone's like, how'd you get Frazetta? I'm like, I asked him.
Yeah.
I asked, right?
Way to do it, right?
Way to do it, buddy.
Yeah, that's something that I really took to heart that Dan Fraga told me, because when he was a kid, he said he somehow found, I think, Art Adams' phone number and was just calling him, and just talking to him and stuff and being like, you talking comics and stuff. And he's like, just ask. The worst they could say is no.
Yeah.
So that's how I got, Dan to do a trading card for the campaign. And that's, I just figured I'd ask, Simon Bisley as well, and it worked out. So
very cool, man.
Exceptional, boys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, congrats. This looks amazing, dude. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Next level right here. I'm pretty pumped. I'm pumped for this now.
Thanks, man.
I want to see. So again, just so I can clarify for myself.
Yeah.
These stories are all in one book. They're all part of the same universe, so it's the same time frame.
Right.
Right. So is it almost like how the structure of like the Sin City is, just kind of like you got all these different stories, but it all ties
exactly
together?
So a lot of people are like, oh, it's like an anthology. I'm like, it's more like Sin City, right? It's all in this one universe. These characters are going to meet. Some of them, though, are in different time frames. Characters like Wildcard, he is an ancient apprentice to Merlin, so he's ageless. So I could throw him in any time frame I want. And the first time we see him in this book is he's sailing the seas in the 1600s, and he's the captain of a pirate ship. And his crew gets hypnotized by the song of the sirens who are on the coast trying to get his shipwreck. And they transform into these ghastly, horrific bird women and try to fight him. Yeah. So he's not having the best day. He's got to fight his own men. He's got to fight these sirens, and he has to fight these enchanted skeleton pirates that are climbing up the side of his boat. So
so cool. Freaking awesome.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Love it.
Yeah,
man.
just trying to fire
this art. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Look at all that detail.
Yeah. This is an amazing Chicago artist that I've known for years. Her name's Maria the Wolf. She just draws the most ripped guys, and she's awesome. She's so cool. I picked up this art the other day because we live really close to her. 11 by 17, pencils and inks. We're actually selling a lot of the original art on the page too. And when you guys do buy that art, the artist gets a bonus from that as well.
Very cool, man. Yeah, everyone out there, please, continue helping support independent creators like Zaid Comics here with Phil and Brandon. Share it on your Facebook, your Twitter, Instagram, wherever you can, on your Twitch. If you have your own shows, maybe you can have them on to do a bit of an interview with your audience. But this is definitely incredible right here. I mean, as a first for them. I mean, this is really the launch. The big bang just happened right now, and their universe is expanding. So make sure you, get out there, support this in any way you can. If funds are tight, remember, just share. Sharing is all it takes, man.
Yeah.
So, please help support these two great creators. Keep that passion going, guys. This is awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do you like it, Brandon? Do you like it?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm more excited now than ever because we passed that important $13,000, 500 stretch goal, so I could actually become an artist, not only on Magic Cop, but now as part of the Lost Pages is doing a 4-page short story.
Awesome.
Yeah, those are going to be fun, man.
I can't wait. Proud of you guys. Really am.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
At 4 o'clock vintage says interested to see if someone will with deep pockets will snag that cover art.
Yeah, man, we're selling that Bisley cover art, which is I don't want to sell, but it's up there for a collector. And that comes with the book, which is going to be signed with by Bisley, bonus comic, poster, and the sticker set as well. So check out the add-on section and all the perks we have up there, because we're offering a lot. This is a big book.
Yeah, and if you get a chance, head over. Yeah, Critical Blast says y'all can come on to Critical Blast on any time. Hit us up in the DMs.
Good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, guys. Well, good luck with everything. Thanks for coming on the show. Please keep us in the loop with what you have going on. Myself, Frank Amazing, Dr. Blevins, Billy, we'll continue pushing this periodically too. Sharing your campaign and stuff. And I'll actually do a couple posts tonight on Facebook. I haven't shared it on there yet, only Twitter. But we'll continue to help support you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
If you boys want to be back, you let us know.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Everybody have a great night. I'm friggin' tired. I bought myself some ice cream. I'm gonna eat that for dinner. Oh, they gone?
You got yourself some ice cream? Oh, you bring them back. Look, boom.
Hey.
Hey, we're back. Surprise.
Yeah, where you going? Come on. All right.
He's about to light up something, and then we just interrupted him.
Remember, light up
what
the
are you
candles.
doing, Brandon? What are you doing, Brandon?
We light up the candles for the ladies.
Oh,
set the mood.
Wow, chicka, wow, wow. All right, Billy, my friend, get some rest. Tomorrow night, everyone, we're gonna have collectibles. He's a good sized YouTuber out there. He's got an awesome channel. You guys should check it out. Gemman Collectibles, we're gonna be chatting with him, talking comic statues.
Awesome.
His channel, what he's doing. Then our good friend Paul Jenkins is going to be joining us to hang out as a special guest. Hopefully next week we'll actually have Paul and Kevin Eastman on. Talking about they're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their career, and those two also have a new channel on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Which is just basically, no holds barred. Like, this is the story of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the stuff that we couldn't say in documentaries. It's just completely raw, uncut, story time. So if you get a chance, check that out as well. But everything else is looking good, my man. And what do we got here?
Hey, look at this. You wounded me, Paul. You wounded me.
Jeez.
Wounded me. We'll talk about this tomorrow. Oh, now you're a big man. Are you a big Man City fan now, Paul Jenkins?
Look at this keyboard Gotti over here, huh?
Yeah.
Say it to our faces, Paul. Come on, you son of a gun.
Anyways.
Oh, let me hide that. Sorry. All right, everybody. Paul, we'll see you tomorrow. Boys, great luck with it. You guys are kicking ass.
Real quick, I forgot to plug yourselves. Where can people follow you? What you're doing? Any other shows you're going to be on?
To Saturday, or either both of us or myself are going to be on Art T. Berry's show at 10 a.m. Central. So check out that with awesome artist and a great guy. And we'll be around. We got our social medias down here.
Yeah.
Check that out. And if you guys like Zaid Comics and want to support us even more, we got shirts for the Lost Pages of Magic Hop on Etsy. So you can go to zaidcomics.com and take the links over to our Etsy store.
All of our links are right on that portal page on zaidcomics.com to Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all those great places and stuff. And even the Etsy store that Phil's mentioning. Yep, everything's up there on zaidcomics.com. A nice, easy place for you to just go right there. Easy to remember too.
And there was someone inquired about Lou T Art in the chat was talking about loving to have some silhouette page up against his Amanda Connor pages in a frame. That would be awesome. We do work with every reader that purchases a page of art, first come, first serve. So we will get you a page that you really like if you want to hand pick them when we ship them out to you.
Look who it is.
Hey, there's Art.
There's Art. 10 Hey, Art.
I have everything in the world, Art T. Bear. How you doing there, pal?
All right, guys.
All right, gentlemen. It was great seeing you, and we'll see everyone again tomorrow night at 9 p.m.
All right.
See ya.
Go Gunner.